Hi everyone, I'm Dhanika. In this session, I'm going to discuss with you how digital payments helps a country to move towards a productive economy and a little bit in deep on how we have actually contributed for that. So our involvement in digital payments is actually goes through two aspects. A few years back, we introduced Pay Here as a payment gateway solution, targeting towards the merchant as a merchant solution. And very recently, we initiated another new initiative as HelloPay as a payment method, a digital payment method targeting the consumers as a consumer solution. Why actually we need digital payments? Why a country need digital payments? Digital payments is actually needed for a country to benefit all the players of an economy. The three players of the economy: the governments, businesses, and the consumers. So for the governments, digital payments enables cost efficiency in any economy. How much money that we spend on printing notes, printing cash right now, right? And to avoid black money, right? Uh, the recent example is the demonetization in India, how Modi actually executed that very successfully, right? And then actually for the governments to avoid corruption as an anti-corruption tool, because everything on digital is actually end-to-end traceable, and that ensures the 100% transparency on any transaction, which actually avoids corruption as well. For the businesses, the ultimate goal of any business is actually to make profits. So digital payments helps that. It actually enables businesses to leverage emerging business opportunities, emerging market opportunities, such as e-commerce. As a country, still majority of our businesses are not leveraging this opportunity at the moment, right? And then actually to gain productivity, mainly through automation. We see actually the examples in other countries like cashless stores, the Amazon store, the cashless store, right? So through automation, businesses can increase their productivity, right? And even in Sri Lanka, we see the recent examples, right? This is actually a McDonald's store. I believe that you all have actually seen this. For the consumers, actually, digital payments offers two things, right? That is mainly convenience and the safety, right? Nothing more than that. So if the actually any method is convenient for the consumers, they actually prefer to pay as their payment instrument, right? And the safety, right? Safety in terms of actually the real safety and also the perceived safety. How to digitize payments? We can do this in two aspects, right? From online payment aspect, right? And then offline payments, retail payments, right? So if we take a look at online payments first, right? The previous status quo in the country, was very pathetic, right? There were no proper way to get paid online, to accept payments in digital ways or online ways over a decade in the country, right? So many people actually, so many businesses actually signed online petitions, and there were so many promises, so many inquiries from every government, and all the governments, this and that, all the government actually gave many promises, but none of them were fulfilled, right? People actually were waiting for PayPal to come into Sri Lanka because they believe that they can actually solve this problem. So it's actually important to see why actually these businesses, the local businesses, waited for PayPal for many years, right? And we can see there are few problems that were not addressed by the existing solutions, right? Previously, the only way that a business could accept online payments was actually through bank payment gateways, right? So they were not affordable, they were not accessible. They were actually very high amounts of setup fees and annual fees, and not accessible at all. There was actually a queue to get a payment gateway, right? And they were very complex to integrate, and even the payment experience was not satisfactory. Right? There were some awful experiences where a consumer go to make a payment. It was not pleasant at all. They didn't actually build trust, and that actually resulted consumer drop-offs as well, right? And any bank offered only one or two payment options, to accept payments, right? So PayPal, comparatively, they were actually addressing all of them. It was affordable. It was anyone could access that, and it's simple to integrate and simple to use. The payment experience was awesome, and multiple payment options was there. Identifying this, what we did, we came up with Pay Here, right? We came up with Pay Here as a homegrown, a Sri Lankan payment aggregator targeting towards the merchant. So what we did with Pay Here is actually exactly addressing the problems that we had identified, right, which were not addressing with the available options at that moment, and which were already addressing with what everyone expected, that is PayPal, right? We gave the affordability to the merchants. We didn't charge any setup fees at all. And not only for corporates, we actually made it affordable for all kind of businesses, even for SMEs, even for startups. Even we introduced a no monthly fee package for the startups just to get their businesses up and running. So the affordability was addressed, and then the accessibility through Pay Here, we made it accessible to any business in the country just by a simple online application process, right? Any business in the country who has a registered business could access this payment gateway facility, right? And then actually we made it simple to use. We made plugins for all the available e-commerce platforms. So it's just actually a matter of installing the plugin and configuring to start getting payments online. And then actually even without a website, we give options to get paid online by simplified solutions such as Pay Here links and Pay Here invoices. You can actually use Pay Here itself to issue your invoices, and then actually to send it digitally and get paid digitally, right? And even through the very simple Pay Here links, which you can actually share even through WhatsApp, even through Messenger, even through an SMS. And then actually we made the payment experience also very seamless for the consumers of business. At the end of the day, it's actually the consumer who make payments for the business. Even a business can now accept their payments within their merchant website, right? Without redirecting or without confusing their consumer, redirecting here and there. They can simply accept their payments within their website right now. Now, this is actually just what you just saw is actually ladies' website, and a consumer can simply pay through any of their available payment method just within their website, even without moving from that. And as a payment aggregator, what we did, we signed up with all these actually the payment methods, payment instruments in the country, and we made a single solution so that any merchant can technically integrate just one time, and they can accept all the payment methods with just one integration. So when it comes to why it's important to have all of these in one integration, we have to see the payments tree. I mean, you can see Pay Here actually plays the role here, right? Pay Here is actually serving the merchants as a merchant solution. And what it helps merchants is actually to accept payments from their consumers from any of the payment instruments that they have. You know, these payment instruments are growing. Still in Sri Lanka, we have very few, but if you consider about India, there are more than 100 payment methods, payment instruments, wallets and other payment instruments. There are more than 100, right? So when actually this becomes larger and larger, it's very hard for merchants to integrate with all of them one by one. So that's actually why an aggregator model is needed, so that the merchants can focus on their business, and any payment option available, become available in the country will be supported by Pay Here. And after about 3 years, we could actually successfully process, because even though we started in 2016, we had to spend about 2 years to clear out all the red tapes, and we launched as a central bank approved facility in 2018, right? So from then, after about 3 years, we actually helped local businesses, Sri Lankan businesses, to process more than 5 billion rupees of payments through all these payment methods that Pay Here supports. And even we actually globally got recognized as the leading payment gateway with the largest customer base in the country. Right now, we are actually serving more than 3,600 local businesses, and we are the market leader at the moment. And then when it comes to offline payments, that is retail payments, right? We identified that there are gaps. There are gaps in the market in this area as well, right? So if you think about the current status quo in the market about retail payments, right? Some retailers accept card payments at the moment, right? And some accept QR payments as well. But many, unfortunately, do not accept digital payments at all. So this is actually the current status quo. So it's very important to analyze and identify what is actually stopping us as a country. Why actually many businesses not accepting digital payments? If you think about the card payments, right? Card payments has a cost, right? The POS machine cost, the hardware cost, or actually the service maintenance cost from the service provider, right? So this cost is actually comparatively high, so that even though the corporates and the big merchants could afford this, the small merchants pay silver kada, it's actually not affordable, right? And there's a transaction cost as well. Average, about 3% MDR is there. And also the third barrier we identified, it takes time to get cash, right? Because most of these POS machines and POS solutions offers T+1 or T+2 cash out times, right? So you have to wait until tomorrow or until, day after tomorrow to get the funds of the sales that you did today, right? So these are actually the three main barriers that we identified. And when it comes to QR payments, right, all these three has been addressed by QR payments, because there's no POS machine cost at all. If you have a smartphone, you can simply use it. Or even if you don't have a smartphone, you can use a static QR code and accept payments. And even the transaction cost is very low, right? It ranges from 0.5% to 1.99%, right? It's comparatively low to the card payments cost. And the third one is also addressed. In terms of QR payments, it's more real time, or at least by EOD. By the end of the day, you can get the cash out of your today's sales. So what we analyzed, all these three aspects for the business side has been addressed by QR payments. But still, you and me, every one of us, see that there's no much payments happening through this mechanism. So then we have to see why is that? What is the reason for that? And I mentioned about mentioning, why we need digital payments from the consumer's aspect, right? The economic player of consumer, what they need actually from the digital payments. I mentioned two things. What are them? That is actually the convenience and the safety, right? So what we identified, still, they are not convenient enough in terms of the experience that the consumer really experience, right? If it should be actually to selected or choose by the consumers, it should actually be convenient than the available other options, cash and cards, right? And then the second one, from the perception, they're not safe at all. In reality, it's true that all these payment options available in the market are safe, because they actually comply with all these regulations and the central bank guidelines, everyone. But none of them feel secure for the consumers, because actually they have been failed in communicating the safety factor, right, to the consumers. So these two are the areas that we identified why Sri Lankan consumers still do not prefer QR payments, right? And that's why we came up with this HelaPay as a homegrown or a Sri Lankan digital payment method targeting towards the consumers, right? And HelaPay is actually addressing exactly that two facts, right? The convenience factor and the safety factor. So we made HelaPay as a super simple, right? Super convenient and super secure, right? Super secure solution for consumers, right? Comparatively to all the players in the market, we actually benchmark our convenience from the global players, right, who have actually been successful in the market as payment instruments, digital payment instruments. Apple Pay, Google Pay, and in China, their own ones, WeChat Pay, Alipay. So through HelaPay, we are right now actually offering that kind of a convenience just with your fingerprint or your Face ID. It's actually just a couple of seconds to do a payment, right? And then we identified the biggest barrier is actually none other than the consumer adoption. We see it actually through the stats as well. If you just browse on Google Play Store, the number of downloads, right? Every one of these exiting players are struggling to pass this count, right? Now, this actually normally updates in Google Play Store after passing 500K, that is 500,000 downloads, right? So still, none of these players has been able to pass that. We strategically transformed our existing consumer brand to avoid this challenge for many years. And that's how actually we transformed our Helakuru, or the consumer solution, digital solution, from a single purpose app to a multi-purpose super app, right? We started that transformation in 2016, 5-6 years back, right? Introducing new services like Kesana, which was actually very popular during the pandemic days, right? And social networking features, move payment facilities, right? The reloads and bill payments, right? So with all these, actually, we repositioned or we transformed Helakuru, which has already passed this challenge, which has already overcome this challenge of consumer adoption. Right now, Helakuru is actually the most downloaded Sri Lankan made app with over 10 million downloads. And we introduced HelaPay not as a separate app, not as a new app, but as a feature included in our Helakuru super app, right? So what that means is right now HelaPay is enabled in 10 million user downloads, right? From that 10 million, actually we have about 4 million active users, monthly active users. So that means actually HelaPay is right now enabled on 4 million consumer base, right? It's just a matter of this start using that, but it's already enabled. We are further repositioning Helakuru from a single purpose app to a super app, going in that concept. And even the example, previous globally benchmark experience, WeChat Pay is actually a part of WeChat super app in China. So that's actually what we strategically follow with Helakuru as well. So that locally adapted experience, Helakuru is already familiar to the users in Sri Lanka, right? So we are giving that same locally adapted experience through HelaPay to make it adapt fast. And then actually we wanted to give a instructive motivation to use this, because I mean another actually failure point that we see in other the competitors in the market in terms of the payment instruments is actually most of them are actually pushed through external motivations, right? Such as discount offers, likewise, right? So you can do that, but actually, I mean, those are temporary, right? I mean, it's very short term that the attraction that you get from that, right? But we wanted to actually give an internal motivation, intrinsic motivation for the consumers, for the people in the country. So that's why actually we decided HelaPay will stick only with the national payment network to process payment, Lanka Pay, right? And we will not actually, even though it is technically capable for us to enable the foreign payment networks as well, we will not do that because we need to give this internal motivation for our users, right? Because when we do that, HelaPay actually contributes a lot in saving foreign exchange for the country, right? When people start using this instead of actually the card payments from foreign card schemes, card payment networks, right? It actually saves foreign exchange for the country. And I got to know from Channa in Lanka Clear, right? For a year annually, there's more than 10 billion rupees of foreign exchange outflows are happening because of these foreign payment network. So that is actually the amount that we can save foreign exchange for the country through HelaPay, because it only stick with the national payment network. And we started the adoption through online, even though our long-term focus of HelaPay is towards the retail payments. we needed to actually break this adoption barrier, right? And we use strategically the already familiar services within Helakuru for that, reloading facilities, bill payment facilities, and combining with Pay Here, the online payment facilities. So we started adoption with online, and we could successfully break through that by passing more than 20 million rupees of payments within our first 3 months, right? It took us 2 months for the first 20 million rupees of payments and only 1 month for the second 20 million. So you can actually imagine the rate that it's growing. So even though we started adoption online, right, to get this familiar for the users and to start the users using that, the next one, our next target is actually to introduce this to the retail, right? And that will be our long-term target as well. And that will happen through several ways. We will have our own merchants, HelloPay for Business merchant app as well. And also we support Lanka QR as well, so that from many aspects, we will actually get into this market, which is our long-term goal. And for the consumers, there will be more real-world convenience will be offering through HelloPay, right? We will be soon integrated with Lanka QR standardization. So once it is done, HelloPay will be able to be used in any of the places that Lanka QR is accepted. Finally, the vision, right? HelloPay is actually going through a vision like this. I mean, if we think about our other countries, right? China has done it very well, starting from many years back. Right now, they have come into a situation like this. Even actually, these peoples are actually getting funds through digitally, through QR codes, right? And even not only China, even our neighboring country, India, has also done that well, right? I mean, which has a similar literacy rate in terms of technology literacy, in terms of language literacy. Even they have been able to do that, right? Even a Kurumba guy is accepting digital payments right now, QR payments right now. So if those countries could do that, there's no reason for us to not to do that. So our vision is actually, yes, we also can do this with right solutions, right services, right communications. We can do that, and that's where we are actually heading with our initiatives towards a productive economy in the country. Thank you.